Hi, and welcome back to Marriage Sensation. I'm Walter Glenn.
And I'm Katy Glenn.
And we'd like to welcome you back. We're a marriage ministry located out of our church, New Life at Calvary, at 79th and Euclid Avenue in the great city of Cleveland, Ohio. Hey, we were just thinking, if we were to have a conversation with ourselves and go back 35 years, what would we say to ourselves? What would we say to that young married couple that got married and just adored each other 35 years ago? What would we say to that couple with today's insights that we have of having the benefit of going through 35 years of experience? So we're going to take you back and we're going to talk about some things that we do differently, some things we do the same, and how our marriage has been affected by maturity. So we've got about 7 areas we're going to talk about today. So what's the first area, Katy, we're going to talk about?
The first area is about time, how we see time differently.
Oh, my.
Since, if I were to go back to a young person, as a young married couple, I think we would have, we did spend a lot of time together.
Amen.
But we probably could have used our time a little bit wiser. And as we grown in marriage and matured and I have retired, my time is like I have so much time that I don't worry about doing things that day. I'll say, I can probably do that tomorrow, or I can do it in a couple days, or I can do it next week, because I just have unlimited time. Now for Walter, since he's still working, he sees his time as limited because he only has so much of it. You work 8 hours a day, you come home, you do whatever little chores you think you need to do, and you have dinner, and then a little conversation, and then it's time for bed. And so that cycle starts all over again. And so he feels his time is limited to what he can do. But so that's where sometimes we clash in terms of, I said, don't worry about that, I can do that tomorrow. Or, we can do it next week or whatever. And he's like, no, we need to get it done now. Sometimes it shows up where, I should have done that when he said it, because now something jumped into the schedule and I don't have time to do this. So you have to make those kind of adjustments that we've learned to make, those kind of adjustments in our time management.
Amen. Because we see time differently. We all do. I'll give you an example. We live about 35 minutes from our church, and as we're driving to church, our church starts at 10 in the morning, and she'll say something like, well, let's go the scenic route. And I'm thinking, well, let's go the highway route, because one is 27 minutes, the other is 35 minutes. And while it's nice to see all the beautiful scenery, and I'm not against that, when we're in a time crunch, I'm thinking, boy, we'd like to get there on time or get there a little early.
Right, you need to
so
get down there.
Not that she doesn't want to get there on time or get there early, but the scenic route is a little more important. So that means we've got to build in some time if we want to go the scenic route. We've got to plan that out. And so
Right.
I think the younger version of us, we were right on the hair of the deadline. I mean, if it started at 9:30, we'd get there right at 9:30 or 9:29. And so I think the older version of us knows how to say, don't put yourself under so much stress to to have to make every light, to make have everything go perfectly in order to get there on time. Build in a little time and build in a little buffer with our time. So I think our time management.
Let me jump in here. The other thing that we've done is get our clothes ready the night before for church. I mean, something as simple as that.
Preparations.
We should have been doing forever, but it has really saved us time in the morning as we're preparing for church and even preparing for work. He gets his pants ironed and he does all that to get prepared so that in the morning it's like clockwork. It's like bam, 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 I'm ready to go to work. And we do that for church.
So the older version of us is more efficient than the younger version of us ever was.
Exactly.
We just never thought to do some of the things we know that we know to do right now.
Right.
Amen. Let's go to our next topic.
Our next area is in communication. And I think we started this Marriage Sensation series with communication, because that's one of the most effective things in your marriage, that be able to communicate well. It's the key to marriage, to communicate well. And that is a learning process, because if you're not a good communicator, you're going to have to learn how to do that with another person in your life. And for me, unfortunately, I have always been defensive when we're trying to talk about something. And I have had to learn that, no, he's not trying to hurt me or, make me look bad or whatever. He's giving me good advice, how to do something a little bit more efficiently or a better way to do, something like that. And I have had to learn not to be defensive in everything that he says. It's like, we're a couple. We're trying to help each other, or we're trying to encourage each other.
I think my wife brings up an excellent point. I think as a young couple, there's a bit of defensiveness that sometimes is present. You try to act like you have a handle on things, and sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And the seeking out of advice, the seeking out of listening to good counsel, wise counsel, there's just a little bit of, hey, I know this, I got this, and so I would say to the younger version of us, listen a little more, pay attention a little more, perhaps even read a little more, grow a little more, and lose some of the defensive-ness about people that really are trying to speak some truth into your lives. Got a good friend named Helen in our church, and she says, hey, speak the truth in love. And so that's a great component. If we look at each other and see that, hey, the motive is not to hurt. The motive is to help. I think
and encourage.
And to encourage. And while criticism is a part of communication, it should be limited. For every critical thing said, there should be 6 or 7 positive things said to counterbalance that criticism. So I would say healthy marriages learn that balance. They learn to say way more positive things than the criticisms and the negatives. And sometimes in marriage, it's easy to criticize, but that we've got to trend away from that. We've got to trend towards building, affirmation, positive feedback. That's what we would do as a younger, if we were in the younger version of ourselves.
The next area is in-laws.
Uh-oh.
Or outlaws, whichever way you want to go with that.
We call them the in-laws and the outlaws. That's what we call them.
But with the in-laws, you have to really set boundaries within your marriage, within your relationship, so that it can be a smooth transition from you being in this one family, and now you've created a new family. The most important is that you've created a new family that will mean new traditions or new different ideas, and so you need to, don't completely let go of your family, traditions and different things that happen, but you have to realize that you do have a new family. For me, my problem was letting go of the old family, and it's like, I had to learn that I have a new family now. I need to start really looking at that, focusing on that, and cutting those lines from your growing up family to your new married family. And sometimes that's difficult, but it's it can be for me it's a growing process, and so we have to work that out.
I think for some that's a challenge. I think that my wife grew up in a very close-knit family. We were a little looser group, the Glens. We were a little looser, so one high when you entered a room was for everybody. In her family, you kind of say individually, hey, Uncle Ralph, hey, Bobby, hey, so it depends on the family, but I think the key word you said there was boundaries.
Right.
I think healthy boundaries are critical. I don't know that we knew how to set those boundaries early on in our marriage. We do now, and our marriage functions so much better because of it. Setting those boundaries. What are some things that you're going to say to your parents or family members? What are some things that are just going to stay between the two of you in your marriage? What are some of the things you're going to experience with other members of your family? When is the alone time going to be? When is the time where it's just you and your spouse? So there's definitely boundaries. There's financial boundaries. One rule we made, and we were able to really stick to this, is that we pretty much said we're never going to ask our in-laws or anybody else for any money. And so we made decisions. Our decisions were based on, can we afford this? so that we would never have to ask anybody for money. Now, we didn't do that from a pride standpoint. It was more from a standpoint of when you invite people into your marriage by asking for financial handouts and gifts, then it really opens us up to some unnecessary intervention there. So we've just always felt that way. So we were just very, very concerned about never putting ourselves in that position. So as it relates to in-laws, keep the boundaries solid. Love them to death.
Right.
Seek their advice and good counsel, but keep your boundaries intact.
Okay, the next area is sex. And sex, I found out, is very important in marriage.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know that as
All
a young couple. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I didn't realize how important it was in terms of the connection between you and your spouse. How that connection is so close, physically and mentally,
And
spiritually, and that making you one person. It's just that love that you show each other. You know, God created sex, so it's a good thing between married couples.
Amen.
And it just brings you closer. It brings that intimacy that you need with your spouse, to have with your spouse.
Well, Dr. Julie Slattery, I listen to her a lot on Moody Radio. She says she's a clinical psychologist. She's a marriage counselor, well, a clinical psychologist, and that's her trade. And she says that there's a hormone that is released after sex for men that create a special bonding with their wives. There's a special bonding after sex, and it's very similar to that same hormone. It's the exact same hormone that is released after a woman gives birth to a child, and they bond with the child. So women have released this hormone after they bonded with their child, after they've had a baby. Men, after they've had sex, it releases this bonding hormone. So I've always said to my wife, if she wants to get closer to me, then have more sex. But no, seriously, sex is good. It was created by God.
Right.
It's not to be anything that we shy away from, or
Right.
but there should be an agreement on how it's going to happen, how the frequency, what you're going to do. So sex has its place, and it's beneficial in marriage. However, it should always be respectful.
Right. You also need to be able to talk about it. Talk about
Yes.
your likes and your dislikes, and you actually learn about those as more that you're married. The more you have sex, you learn about different things in your body that just bring you desire and love for your husband. And so it's a growing process as well. And it can just get better and better and better as the longer that you're married.
As your marriage goes up, the sex will go up as well.
Right. So it's a good thing, and I just love the closeness that it brings to us.
Okay, next topic.
Now the next one is just having fun. We needed to have more fun in our marriage. We were so concerned about running a household and getting a house and, taking care of our children, that a lot of times we didn't have a lot of fun.
No.
I mean, we had fun when the kids were born because, you got to have fun with kids to keep them excited about life. But between the two of us, we really didn't, because we were so busy in the business part of our family.
Yes.
That we didn't create enough time for fun. And you just need to incorporate that. We're incorporating that not more, that we're empty nesters. That we was like, there's that part that was missing in our marriage, and it was the fun component. So we're bringing that in, and we're just having a great time.
Hey, keep your marriages fun. Keep them exciting. Keep them looking to do new things.
Right.
Trying new things. Trying different restaurants. Trying new foods. Keep things exciting. Keep things fresh. Keep date night going. Keep the fun equation in your marriage strong. That is
Right.
that is just a component. And you know what? When things get tough, we will remember back onto the fun
Right.
that we had. You know, there are some times when I'm really having a really tough day, and I'll think back on something funny she said or something funny we did, and it just it's just amazing how it can change the trajectory of your marriage or your day when you think about all the fun things that you've done. So keep the fun equation in the marriage. It is beneficial and it's necessary.
Our final one is to work as a team. I have always been a team player because I know that it makes the work go smoother. There's more bonding between you and the other workers that you're working with, but especially with a marriage, you have to work together on the visions that you have, the goals that you have, that you can work together to reach those goals. And working as a team, you know, not only just physically, but financially and spiritually, to make your marriage work and make it go smoothly. It's not going to go smoothly all the time, but when you work as a team, you're looking for the same things. You're looking for the same financial goals. You're looking for the same spiritual goals, your family goals. And so working as a team is very important. And we all know that in our jobs, that we have to learn how to work together to make the business run smoothly. And it's the same for a marriage.
Yeah, it takes teamwork to make the dream work.
Right.
The team is very important. It's you learn so much in team sports, which I grew up playing. You learn about unselfishness. You learn about passing the ball. You learn about running your laps. The discipline of practice. The discipline of always supporting your teammates. Even when you're on the bench, you support your teammates. So teamwork is vital, and it helps. Some of those things carry over into marriage. For me, it did. It really carried over into my marriage because there's going to be times when you're not the star player. Okay, you're the bench player. You're the substitutes. And so in your marriage, there are going to be times when you're not the person in the spotlight, and that's okay. It's good as a marriage for us to work together and just always to look towards our team.
Right.
The team is the most important, and when we keep that in sight, we can accomplish some amazing things.
Yes.
The marriage is built on a partnership. This is Team Glenn, and we function as a team. Now that's one of the things that we did well from the beginning of our marriage, and it has even gotten better. We were really strong in that area, and that area has gotten even stronger as we've gotten older because we realize now we do need each other as a team to even get some things done.
Right.
So I would say
together we've reached our goals.
Yes, we have.
You know, a lot of goals that we made for our marriage. Working together and being disciplined and focused on what we wanted or desired in our family, it has worked because we have worked as a team.
So we want to challenge you. Make your marriage fun. Work as a team. Think about what would the younger version of your marriage say to this version, that version that you're at right now.
Yeah.
What are some of the corrections you would have made? Some course corrections. What are some of the things you'd keep the same, and what are some of the things that you'll shoot for? So, as always, until our next time together, we want your marriage to be sensational.